Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be another top 10. Kind of a different top 10 video. Kind of an interesting list right here. But I figured I'd do my top 10 most underrated serial killer movies, where it deals with a serial killer. Now you've heard about like the most popular serial killer films, whether it be like Seven, The Silence of the Lambs, things like that. Like those are really popular ones, but these are 10 of them that I think are really, really underrated. There's probably some more out there, but these are the top 10 ones that stood out to me personally. These are top 10 underrated serial killer films that I don't think many people talk about or even know about. But I figured I'd give you, and if you enjoy serial killer films like, you know, The Seven or Silence of the Lambs or things like that, I think you should give these films a watch. So this will be my top 10 underrated serial killer films. So let's get on to the list. The first two I do have on DVD, but they were kind of a pain to pull out. Like, I don't feel like pulling out because there's a lot of DVDs in there. But let's get on to the top 10. Number 10 would be The Bone Collector. This is the one with Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie. It's a really solid flick about a serial killer. Also has a really great supporting cast. You know, Michael Rooker, even Queen Latifah, I think, did a really good job in this film. This is just a really solid flick. I remember seeing the TV spots for it a lot back in the day when it was first new, back in 1999. Just remember seeing a lot of promotions for it. I always thought it looked like a cool film, like a cool flick. I got a chance to see it when I was much older, and really do enjoy the film a lot. I think it's a really solid flick. So that's why it's definitely number 10. Coming in at number 9 would be Identity. This is a really, really cool kind of like serial killer film where you have these people stranded at a motel during a rainy night, and they're getting killed off one by one. You don't know who it is. And it's a really, really great cast. John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, Alfred Molina, John C. McGinley. It's a really, really solid cast. It's directed by James Mangold, same guy that went on to do Logan. He did Copland, the Wolverine movie from 2013. So James Mangold's a really, really solid director, and this is a really solid flick. It's a really great mystery kind of like movie. Has a pretty good twist in there as well. Has a really good cast. And I really enjoy Identity a lot. It's a really underrated one. Coming in at number 8 is a really, really criminally underrated film, The Hunted. Basically, it's kind of like Rambo First Blood, the novel turned into a movie, because the Rambo First Blood is different. The actual Rambo First Blood film is way different than the novel. And this one, because in the novel, Rambo was more crazier and he killed a lot of people. And basically, that's what Benicio del Toro is in this film. He's an assassin who's taking people out one by one. You have Tommy Lee Jones who's trying to capture him and trying to stop him. It's a really, really underrated flick. It's action-packed. It goes by at a quick pace. It's really thrilling. It's a great thrill ride. It's directed by William Friedkin, same guy that did The French Connection and The Exorcist, among other stuff as well. Killer Joe was another good one with Matthew McConaughey. Really enjoy this film. I mean, if you like Rambo and you want to see the novel turn into a movie, but it's like the opposite, like Rambo's kind of like the antagonist because he's taking people out one by one because he's crazy, definitely check out The Hunted. I think it's a really underrated film. Coming in at number 7 is I See You. One of the most underrated Sylvester Stallone films, where basically a serial killer is killing off all these cops, and Stallone plays a detective who's trying to solve it. And it has a very, very good cast. I mean, look at this cast. You have not only Sylvester Stallone, but you also have Tom Berenger, Charles Dutton, Sean Patrick Flannery, Dina Meyer, Robert Patrick, Robert Prosky, Courtney B. Vance, Polly Walker, Jeffrey Wright, Chris Christopherson. It's a really pretty big cast, and I love the whole setting. It's a really eerie setting. I think Stallone gives a really underrated performance. I love the whole setting. I think this and Cobra were the two closest things that Stallone got to do to being close to being in a horror movie. Yeah, but I See You was a very solid flick. I don't know why this film got so forgotten about. It's a really underrated one. Make sure I'm getting this list right. Let me check the list. Okay. Coming in at number 6 is a film that got crapped on a lot. I don't understand why. The Watcher. Yeah, there are some things about this film that are a little weird, like the way they introduce Keanu Reeves' character as the killer. Like, his first introduction is kind of like him doing this really weird, like, dancing to this Rob Zombie music. Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a really weird kind of like transition to introduce the killer. I think they could have done something a little different there, because I know there's a scene in this film where Keanu Reeves is talking to the mirror as if he's talking to the good guy who's the main detective, and like the way he's doing it's really creepy. I think that should have been the introduction to the killer, but it's a really underrated film. It's a really kind of the switch of the kind of like a flip of the switch where James Spader is the good guy and Keanu Reeves is the bad guy. James Spader is a FBI agent, and Keanu Reeves is the killer. I think these two really work really well together. I like James Spader. It's rare for him to be a good guy. He was great in this film as the good guy. Keanu Reeves as the killer. I know he got a lot of crap for this role, but I think he did really well. I like Marissa Tomei. Ernie Hudson has a little role in this as well. Very solid flick. Never understood the hate for this film. I do enjoy The Watcher. I'm probably one of the only few, though, that like it, though. Number 5 is without a doubt Frailty. You know, Frailty, watching this film about the God's Hand killer, I mean, just watching this film really makes me wish Bill Paxton got to do more stuff as a director, because he directed this film, and I think this was the only film that Bill Paxton directed, because he starred in the film, and he directed it. You know, it's just such a well-done horror film from the 2000s about the God's Hand killer. You have not only Bill Paxton, but you have Matthew McConaughey, Powers Booth, who's no longer with us anymore, Jeremy Sumpter, Matt O'Leary from the Spy Kids films is one of the people in this as well. Frailty, criminally underrated flick. Really enjoyed this film. Hell, even Stephen King gave this a good review, so Stephen King really enjoyed this film. But it's a really solid flick. Love Frailty. Number 4 is Replicant. I just showed this not too long ago on a birthday update. One of my personal favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme films. It's a really underrated one where Michael Rooker's a cop who has to chase down Jean-Claude Van Damme, who plays the killer. But then, in order to find the actual killer, they have to make a clone of the killer and have to try to find the killer by using this clone. And it's a really interesting story. Jean-Claude Van Damme does a great job as the killer. I mean, the whole opening with his character is just really creepy and crazy, where this woman's like cowering and crying, and Van Damme goes, "You're a bad mother," and he kicks her right in the face and basically breaks her neck and kills her. And he picks the baby up and he sings this creepy lullaby and takes pictures, and Michael Rooker ends up saving the baby. And I'll talk about more about this when I review this, but really underrated Van Damme film. Number 3, of course, I talked about this too already, The Minus Man. Underrated performance by Owen Wilson as the killer. I'll probably talk more about this in a separate review, but love The Minus Man. Let's see, number 2 is another underrated one. This is a very underrated flick. right here. Number 2 is The Cell. The Cell is a film where you have Jennifer Lopez as a child psychologist who basically has to go into the mind of a serial killer. She can kind of go into people's minds, into their dreams and things like that. And basically you have Vincent D'Onofrio as the killer, where basically they find out about one of his later victims is trapped somewhere, and they don't know where she's at, and basically he doesn't take his medications and he goes into a coma. So Jennifer Lopez kind of has to go inside Vincent D'Onofrio's mind to try to figure out where his latest victim is before time runs out. You have Vince Vaughn as the main FBI agent. Dylan Baker from the Spider-Man films as Dr. Connors. He's one of the agents as well. I love The Cell. Love this film a lot. And my number one underrated serial killer film is, without a doubt, Manhunter. I don't want to talk much more about Manhunter because I already reviewed the film already when I reviewed the Hannibal Lecter series. But Manhunter, without a doubt, my favorite Hannibal Lecter film. Love Manhunter. But if you want to see more of my thoughts on the film, then you can go check out my review, because I did a full-length review of Manhunter. But there you have it. Those are my top 10 underrated serial killer films. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.